coming from Joanne's. What is up, regulars? Today we're coming from good old Joanne's Fabric for a pretty fun episode for you. We're going to be redoing a set of sports seats in a 944. So why not do the intro in a 944? Also, if you guys are ever wondering if 944s came with a cup holder, yeah, actually, right there. Best dang cup holder in the car industry, I'll tell you what. Anyways, stay tuned and let's reupholster some seats. All right, so what we have is a set of late sports seats. When I mean late, I mean 1985 and a half, all the way up to the mid 90s. 944 NAs, turbos, S2s, 911s, all these cars, they could have this variation of sports seat. When I say sports seat, I mean the big heavy bolsters right here. I don't have a regular seat right now to show you, but yeah. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna assess the condition of the seats and the condition of the foam. So you can see right here on the driver's seat is a little bit of wear, nothing too bad. We'll just have to fill this in and then cover everything. Same thing right here. There's a hole. We'll fill that in. We're gonna skin the entire seat with a 1/4 inch foam. What that's gonna do is once it's compressed, it's gonna be very small. But what it's gonna do with the new seat covers is it's gonna make it nice and tight. That way you don't have any crazy wrinkles. And I'll show you that on here. Sorry, I had Doritos. But anyways, you can see the seats, they have no wrinkles except right here. And they are nice and tight. These are homemade. There's no special tools needed except for this right here. And what this is a hog ring plier kit. We're gonna use the smaller hog rings. And this is what, I can open it. This is what it looks like. This is the only special tool you're gonna need for all this. Everything else is just normal 10mm, 12mm, 14mm sockets. I think there may be some Allen keys on here. I cannot remember, but we'll find out together. So let's start taking these things apart. So right here, there's a C-clip. We're gonna pull the C-clip back. I like to use a pick. Just get it like that and pop it off. And with your pick, you're gonna pop this off too. Now this guy right here, it doesn't have to be keyed any certain way. Just when you put it back together, you need to make sure that it has tension on it. Next step, get your 15mm socket and go ahead and remove these 4 bolts. 1, 2, and then 2 on the other side. There we go. So I might break this, I might not, we'll see. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna pop the sleeve out and off. And you just gotta take your time with it, don't force it. I'm using a little tiny flathead. Almost had it. Just like that. Pull this off. Once this is off, you should be able to pull this rod straight out, just like that. And then take these Hold on to it so you don't lose it. Now I highly suggest, if you're gonna take these out to clean them and paint them, to put them back in before you put the upholstery on, because once the upholstery's on, you know, you're a little screwed. The only way to get to that bolt is to unclip this little things, which are gonna be pretty much one-time use. You don't wanna forget to put these on after you had already reupholstered it. All right, now we're gonna remove these on both seats. Next up is power seat buttons. These two screws come off and expose it's just a little cover, and the buttons will stay there. These are optional if you want to remove them. You do have to remove the cover. If you're going to remove the power seat controls, you need to also clip these, clip this, unclip, sorry, I'm all lost. Unclip that, unclip that, unclip that, and then these wires right here going to the motors. You need to disconnect them from the motors, then pull all of them completely out, which is what I'm going to be doing. I forgot to mention that this thing right here will not fit, so you need to actually depin it. So all you do is get your screwdriver in there and pop this cover off, and then you can see one side's negative, one side's positive. It doesn't matter when you put it together, these pins, if these ones on the bottom or on the top, because all they do is power the switches. You just need to make sure that the positive, negative is correct and that they are in the proper holes. And all these do is just push straight out, just like that. And then you'll be able to fit this through that hole, which you can see right here. It's not a lot of space. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna remove these hog rings. I like to just twist them off like that. Very simple. And once those are off, you'll see these guys, whoops, right here. Now these are gonna be questionable on the vehicle. You never know if they're gonna break. I'm having a hard time filming. Just bend these up. Be careful not to keep bending them. So bend them only enough to get the seat off, and then try your best not to touch these until you're putting the new seat covers back on, or else it's gonna be hard to get this nice OEM factory, you know, fit and finish right here. We'll remove all of those. All right, so with all the ones on the outside removed, now we're gonna go to the inside, and you can see hog ring, hog ring, hog ring. Same thing down this side, and then down the back. It's gonna be a little hard to see. Most of your seats are gonna look like this, where the foam is actually split all the way through. But there are hog rings on here. You can see right here, this is the upholstery from the seat. And there's a wire in here. We need to get this off too. There's also in the back some baling wire. And what this baling wire is right here is this is going all the way around, and it's being pulled tight to make the seat, you know, look good basically. Also, not to mention that right here and right here, there are two of these little push pins that will go in. Optional to replace. I'm gonna try to reuse them on the new seats, but chances are I'm probably not gonna be able to line it up and get it right, so we'll see. Also, with that being said, about not reusing that possibly because you can or can't, you know, I don't want to go on a rant, but basically we work on these cars to have fun, right? So, you know, there's no crazy need to go, you know, all nuts and freaking in the army. we have this, our jobs are called MOS, and we have a saying, don't make an MOS out of it, right? Like, don't overthink it, you know, have fun working on your car. If you can't get a stupid little pin that you won't ever see back in the hole, then oh well, man, you can't get it in there. As long as the seats look good, right? And feel good. All right, so let's start pulling all of this stuff back carefully. Now you could theoretically cut these covers off the car, but I challenge you guys to take it apart properly. That way you know how to put it back. This is not a necessarily hard job to do, but it's a little tedious and it takes a lot of attention. Sometimes it takes doing things more than once. Alright, so now with everything off, what we're going to do is flip this thing over because we still need to unclip some stuff back here on the top side. So let's flip her on over. Now, the way they do this, actually let's take you off the tripod. This is important right here to take note on how the factory did this. So your seat also looks really good. Now, there's a bar in here, and this is actually going to fold down. You can see it's a dirty job too. There's a little piece of cardboard or plastic on the new seats that will fold down into here. And then if you look back here, see they're hog ringed here. It might be hard to put new hog rings in this foam. So what you can do actually is tie these together all the way across. But you really want to take extra care and attention when redoing these seats with the new covers to get these corners right. Because if you don't, it's gonna look like boo-boo. And I see this all the time when people, and I don't say anything because I want to be nice, but when people post pictures and stuff of their new seats that they did, it always, right here, it always looks like crap. And yeah, you just want your car to look good. So take special attention to that. That way you can replicate this on your seats. So with those removed, you're gonna come in here and you're gonna pull these staples out. When we redo the seats, we're gonna replace staples with glue. Because once you staple in here, you can see the foam is pretty much done. You can't really staple it again. Look at that, already getting paid back. Once your seat cover is off, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in, we're gonna retrieve these rods. These are important to keep, and there's 3 of them. There's one going across, one going down. You can see, for example, right here, this one's still stuck in there a little bit. And I believe this one, yep, this one's still stuck in there. There you go. Make sure you get those out. So now we're going to transition to the top of the seats, and we'll pull these things off. It uses a little bit of strength. Give me a second. Once you get that off, just take a screwdriver, pop it in here, and this thing will pop off. Same thing as underneath the seat. You have these pins. Just pop these things out very carefully. What's that? Once you get the top cover off, do not forget to scavenge your metal rods out of here. So you'll have to cut it with the razor blade, pull it out. There's one here, and there's one on each side going up where the backrest would have been. See right here, and in here. And once you get to this point, just repeat the same steps on the other seat. Here's all the bolts going into the ultrasonic. We'll let that go. All right, next thing we're going to do is we need to repair this foam area. So pretty simple. You can see it's just a chunk missing. So I'm going to lay some foam in it, and I'm going to put another layer over it. And there's no like real precision that you need to have while doing this. The reason why is because once you actually get the seats on, it covers up a lot of the imperfections. Especially the seat covers we're using, they already have foam in them. So you can see one piece right there, and then we'll glue this in there, and then we'll do another piece on top to add thickness, just like that. So let's cut this out. So there's one, and there's two. Like that. And then we're going to sheet this entire seat over with foam, and that will cover up any rough cuts or whatever. So I like to use this headliner adhesive. It's pretty strong stuff. Sprayer in on one side. I'm going to let that tack up. Once it tacks up, then I'll shove this in there, and yeah, I'll put the other piece on top. Once that glue is done, we're going to take a nice sharp blade, and we're just going to shape this. Don't try to use an old blade for this. It's not going to work out for you. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to get some of this quilting fabric. I think that's what it's for. It's like it goes in between two pieces of cloth. And we're going to glue it over here to help cover up this. And it's pretty simple. Like I said, no need to overthink it. Just spray some glue on it. Spray some glue there, let it tack up for a second, and then we're just going to place it just like that. And then we're going to cut the excess. I'm just going to use scissors for this. And none of this will be visible once the seats are on, and you'll see when we're done. Get you some of that fancy schmancy B-roll. All right, and for this hole right here, I'm going to shove some of this down in there first. to make a nice little platform. There we go. Just like that. And we're going to start cutting foam to fit. Same thing. Just get it in there, build your way up. I'm gonna retry that. I had it and I lost it. I got it too sticky. Actually, I'll just use the same piece but upside down. Just like that. All right, now we're gonna foam the whole top of this seat. What this is gonna do, it's gonna help the vinyl form better without having a bunch of wrinkles. Because we don't want a bunch of wrinkles. All this is 1/4 inch foam, and it'll compress way down when we're using it. But this is gonna help make the seats look nice and tight. You don't want to use too thick foam though, because then the seats will look stuffed, and we don't want the seats to look stuffed. You know, the OEM sports seats are pretty skinny looking. Now we're going to trim her on up. So for the sides, what I'm doing is I'm putting my knife through, and I got it along this foam. Not cutting it, just cutting alongside. And there you go. All this jacket stuff right here will be covered up. You won't be able to see it. And you have a seat with foam on it, ready to have new upholstery put on top. Okay, here we are. These are the new seat covers. Right now I have them sitting out somewhat in the sun, trying to get some warmth into them. If they're warm, it'll be a little bit easier to work with them. Now, as you can see there's already foam stitched in here, right here, and right here. So we don't want to go too crazy on the foam there. Pardon the mess, by the way. We don't want to go too crazy on the foam on the seats. The reason why, you can see on my seats, is I still have Doritos. See how this is up and slopes down in there like that? This seat actually needs some foam taken out of it to sit more like lower, because these bolsters are supposed to be way bigger, but you can see my seat has too much foam in it. And I'm trying not to do that with these guys right here. And look at those. Is that not cool or what? These are going in a black 86 944 turbo. And all right, now we're going to insert these rods. Into the respective liners. Okay, the short one goes in here. The long one goes in here. Okay, a couple ways to do this. You could push the upholstery on and use hog rings to clamp it down, or I like to use zip ties. It's the same way they recommend to do it for the only 944 seats. And basically everywhere where there was a hog ring, we're gonna put a zip tie through. All right, now you can see my seat cover's upside down on the bottom of the seat. What we're doing is, we're gonna use zip ties to hold these in. So we want to mark on here, this flap right here, we want to mark where it intersects these right here. That way we have something to zip tie onto. I'll show you what that looks like. I just need two hands. See how the zip tie will clip onto here? And you can see this is where the old rail used to come through. This line all across. One back here and one going up on your side. Okay, now for the bottom, from this first one, this is the front, measure about, let's say 4.5 inches. You're gonna make a hole right there at the 4.5 inch mark. 4.5 inch mark, right? So make that hole. Then you're gonna make a hole on each one of these. So hole right here, right here, right here, and right here. Now you can put one here if you want. It's gonna be really, really hard to get a zip tie there. That's optional. If you can try to do it. It's not the end of the world if you can't. This will be the easiest portion of this whole thing, is getting this on. Will it be easy to film it? Probably not. But I'm here and I'm doing it for y'all. So give this shit a thumbs up if you like it. Put zip ties back through the bottom. And we're going to start them. We're not going to cinch any of them down. We're just going to get them started. Every zip tie right now needs to be loose. Otherwise, you're going to have one heck of a time doing these seats. Same concept. Put the zip ties from underneath. So put the zip ties up from underneath these, where you put those marks on your seats. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're not going to cinch them down. We're just going to keep them loose for now. Just as a reminder for anybody who's working on the car with power seats, don't forget, before you put your seat covers on, pop this piece of plastic back on over where the buttons go. And it is marked L and R. There's a left and a right. So just put a little bit of glue on there. You're going to want that. All right, once you have all of your zip ties in, as you can see, I got these down here. We can start actually pulling the seat sides down over. Once we do that, we're going to pull them down and over, and we're going to start cinching the zip ties down one at a time, a little bit at a time. Now, one thing to take note of is you want to make sure that this seam right here, going all the way around, let's use the example. You want to make sure that when you're cinching it down, you're not cinching those rods to the back. You want them to be forward so this seam right here stays smooth all the way around. Otherwise, what will happen is, see how this is going in? It'll do it just like that, sometimes even more. Also, I need to mention this. There's no reason when installing the vinyl seat covers like this that you should have to use a heat gun or any kind of heat source to get this stuff to stretch. It's not necessary. Okay, now what we need to do is start pushing these down in here. We need to make sure that the rods are actually going down in between the foam. All right, we will start cinching down. We're going to start from the back and work our way around. See how the front is level? Remember, it gets better the more you work with it. You just got to keep working it in, working it down, cinching it down, stretching it, vice versa, and it'll start smoothing out a lot. So let's go ahead and put you on a time lapse. Okay, now for these corners right here, as you can see, it kind of doesn't look super good, right? You're gonna get your hands in here. See my fingers? And you're gonna push the foam in while pulling down. We're tucking the foam so the ridge of the foam is right before this seam. When you do that, now look what happens when I pull it down and tight. See how nice and clean that looks? Not bad, right? And you just keep slowly working at it. Same thing up here. See this little lump right here? Start pushing foam and rolling it. Keep applying it. And eventually, it'll start coming out and looking smooth. And you do not attach anything to the bottom of the seat until you have it 100%, or should I say 99%, because some wrinkles like this right here will not come out till sun hits it and actually gets pretty warm. And we'll keep doing that. Once you start getting satisfied with the fit and finish, remember this is the seat we fixed the hole on. Now, oh, don't drop it. Now you could take it, pull it taut and over these little vampire teeth looking thing. See right here? So for example, just like this and over like that. And then you bend this back down like that. Now don't bend them down until you have them all on, just in case you need to adjust any. And then you can see, you can see how that's coming out already. And we're going to take this and then we're going to pull it and tuck it in. All the way under, just like that. See, it's starting to come together. These little leather flaps need to go in here like this on both sides. And then we're going to pull these across like that. Okay, I added a little bit of glue in these corners. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this straight across and we're going to add hog ring, just to hold it there for now. And this flap right here will cover all of this, right? What we do is we got to put that metal rod through here and pull this over nice and tight. And we're going to hog ring it to these springs right here. Now I'm going to put a couple more hog rings on here before I do that. Okay, added some glue here and here, which will help keep this together. If you ever need to remove it, you just gotta pull it a little extra hard. And we're gonna start by doing, oops, mine anyway. We're gonna do the middle first. We're gonna pull it back and then down and over. I didn't have a hog ring ready. I freaking screwed that up, didn't I? Back, down, over, and we're going to this spring. So I need 3 hands for this, and I only got 2. Just like that. Now, before you get carried away, flip the seat and check the seam. Make sure that nothing when you did that is going wonky right here. See, it's a little wavy, so we're going to massage this a little bit before we put the rest of them on. I need a better freaking table. All right, here comes some of the scary bits. So what we're going to do is right here, this hole is for the the lever. So we're just gonna put the smallest little hole right on top of it. And then we're gonna push and stretch this over. Try to get that hole as small as possible, just like that. Then, I believe that's the right one. Just like that, right? Okay, here's a slightly more terrifying hole to cut in your $800 seat covers. Now, basically you could go about ½ an inch in all around this thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push it in pretty hard to see, right? And now I'm gonna slice a line right across. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna slice another line. We're making an X, all right? Just like that. Now we can cut a little bit more of a square in the center. This is all freehand. No need to go crazy with freaking chalk markers and stuff like that. Did I have my head in the way? Give me a thumbs down if my head was in the way the whole time. All right, and as you can see, now when we put our seats in, or our seat buttons in, this should be able to push this out of the way and make it nice and clean. So let me get these wires in and we'll come right back. All right, now with the wires in, you can pull it tight. Just like that. Now what we need to do is we need to get our pick, poke a hole for where that screw goes. Screw in. Once this screw is in, nice and tight, just like that, take your pick, poke 2 more holes. It's important to poke holes in here. And get your cover, screw that on. Now these screws I'm screwing in, I'm gonna take out and actually paint them black, but I wanna get them in now, just so I could be done with cutting, trimming. But look how simple that was. No need to overthink, right? And look how good it looks. What's that mean with that guy cooking? Oh, so good and tasty. Now we're ready to start the top. Once you have that done, put it in the sunlight and, you know, admire your work a little bit. Sit back, relax, wash your hands, get ready to start the next part. But I think that looks pretty damn good. I'll tell you what, it's pretty unique too. Now, stuff like this will come out the more it sits in the sun, but this is not an install thing. This is the way it was sewn. There's just too much material bunched up right here, and the only way to really fix that is to cut it and re-sew it. So we'll have to live with that. But I think it looks pretty damn good. All right, here comes the fun part, the top of the seat. This is a little painstaking, but we'll get her done. So the first thing you want to do is you want to put the bars in here. They go in here, sorry. So one here, 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one I thought goes down here. It might go back here. Oh, the fourth one goes back here. So we'll do that. All right, it's time to do the most annoying part. of this whole entire process, or process if you're from the Great White North, and that is getting the top of the seat all the way on without breaking, tearing, or ripping anything. This could be a royal pain in the booty crack. But we're gonna persist, and we're gonna take our time. There's a couple tricks you can do. I've seen people put a trash bag over their seat and use that to make it more slippery. But I've had good luck just slowly pulling it down. Do it once, do it right. Just like this. Don't eat Taco Bell before you do this either. Or you shit yourself. So we're still getting this thing down as tight as we can. Don't get this as tight as you think it'll go. Get it as tight as it'll go. The number one reason why you see redone seats with a bunch of wrinkles up the bolsters is because this is not as tight as it needs to be. Once you have it as tight as it can get, you're going to take this piece right here and you're going to hog ring it to this bar going across. So you're going to pull this down just like that. You're going to hog ring these two together just like that. I can't do it with one hand, so we're going to have to put the camera up. One, two. What's that gonna do? That's gonna pull the top down and in right here. First one is the hard one. Once you get the first one, the rest will kind of just fall into place. Now putting a lot of pressure down and in. Just like that. Look at that. Once you have those in, you can start stretching these over the side. So you can see, I'll push this down and pull this over and down. Get my hand in here and start massaging these bolsters over and down. They got to wrap all the way around. It's going to take a lot of strength and a lot of patience because you don't want to pull hard to the point where you're pulling these seams apart. Let's keep pulling. There we go. These will come out in some sunlight. A little bit more massaging right here. Remember, this right here is the seat side that we repaired the foam on. So we just need a little bit more massaging. And this will come out when we pull the bottom more because it's still trying to scrunch up. So we're gonna pull down here. And I'll just give you an example of pushing as hard as I can right here. See those wrinkles starting to come out? So a little bit more loving right here. All right, get your center piece of foam. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue. Just that much, don't need a lot, don't want a lot. We're going to insert it up nice and high in here. We're gonna wrap this whole thing around it. And then, before that glue sets, these around, push it down in. Just takes a little bit of finessing with these flaps. So these were stapled and hog ringed into the car, and it's not really necessary, although you can. I like to just press fit it in. Oh, by the way, I live on a military base. Anybody wondering, this means it's 5 o'clock. Just keep working it. Just like that. Now what you can do, before you tuck this, before you do any of this, is you can actually get up in here, if you can see that. You get up in here and you could hog ring this leather flap right here. See it? To these springs, and this will keep this part from going up. And all you gotta do after that is just lift up a little bit and tuck this all up in there, just like that. Just like that. All right. All right, we're gonna hog ring these down. All right, so there's a little bar right here, and we're gonna hog clip some more junk on there. So we're gonna pull this all nice tight up there, and we'll clip it right there. Same thing for the other side. Nice and tight. Clip her on down. Then, and the only purpose of this foam right here is to hide the vinyl that we're putting here. Which reminds me, I need to hog this thing down too. Once you get to this stage, there's no real right or wrong. As long as you're getting all the stuff tidied up, out of the way. Remember, this is the back of the seat and underneath the seat that will be going into a gap. So a lot of the stuff you won't even ever see. But you still want to get it done right? It's not about what you do when people are watching. It's about what you do when no one's looking. So I put the rod back in here. You can see a piece of it sticking out. And we're gonna pull this, the middle first. We're gonna stretch it, and we're gonna poke it through that thing, just like that. Now we're gonna finish up with the sides. take these, bend them back, just like that. Actually, apologize, I bent that the wrong way. Hopefully this one doesn't break when I bend it, because I bent it the wrong way. I'm gonna bend them forward. Just like that. We'll tap those down with a, I don't have a hammer with me, but I'm gonna take a little tiny hammer and we'll tap these guys down. All right, you got 4 more cuts that you gotta make. That'll be kind of stressful. First 2 right here on the side. So you're gonna feel around for the bolt holes. There should be 1, 2. I got my finger on 1, 2. So we're just gonna take this, we're gonna slice an X. That's 1 bolt hole. Here's another. This is where the seat bolts to the side. All right, right there, right there. And then you can actually cut across if you want. And then you also need to cut a relief. For this, right? You can do it on the other side too. Same exact thing. And then up here, you need to cut, see right here? This is for your seat latch, to move it. So all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna feel around till I get this little nub right here. I'm gonna slice it, just enough. Right there. Now, this one you're gonna have to cut out a little bit until you can get your little plastic piece to fit. Okay, so now, see this. So now you gotta figure out where the top is and where the bottom is. So this is all the way up. So we're gonna basically slice down right there. And just keep on going until this thing fits inside that hole. Just like that, look at that. All right, here's the finished result. Now it does need to sit and soak up a little bit of heat. This is what I'm telling you, the last 1%. Wrinkles like this and wrinkles that are very small like this will come out when it sits in the car in the sun. Huge wrinkles though will not come out. But that is a very unique set of sports seats right there. If you don't say so myself. So anyways, just repeat that process for the other seat and then you're pretty much done. The only difference is that the seat rails on this one on the bottom are a little rusted. So clean those up any way you feel necessary. I'm taking them to my buddy. He's gonna sandblast them, and then I'm gonna paint them with a 2K satin black spray paint. Basically the same I did in this car right here. And you can see they've held up pretty good for quite a while. But you do want to make the rails look good because you know, you see them when you get in and out of the car. But yeah, not a bad result. So if you like that and you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you think I deserved it. And it was nice seeing y'all.